Hey, Nerd Herd, Dynasty Nerds here, back again. This time talking about low-risk, high-reward players. Matt, do you know a good tight end besides mine?
I know you like those tight ends, Rich.
It's the whole reason I do squats, Matt.
That sounds very risky.
Garrett,
Opposite of the show.
Garrett, I think you know a couple things over there as well, right?
That seems too risky for me.
Well, we're here to get risky today. We're going to risk it for the biscuit.
We're definitely talking about Leonard Fournette the entire time.
Well, if you want a good tight end, we got you covered there as well.
Ready, set, Welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast, where we discuss Dynasty strategy, rankings, and all things NFL. So get ready to geek out on fantasy football with your host, Rich Dotson.
And welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your host, Rich Dotson.
Hi, I'm Matt O'Hara.
And I'm Garrett Price.
And we are Dynasty Nerds here talking some Dynasty Fantasy Football. And today we're talking about some guys that are low upside. Wait, no.
Nope.
Low
Risk.
low risk.
High upside.
High reward.
High upside. I'm a little high. High upside. But potential high upside. How about that?
Potential. They've
Like
got great
these-
potential.
These are not guys we're gonna go out here. We're not putting our fist on the table. We're not putting them down aggressively. We're not knocking on wood. We're not hitting the wood.
None of
we're
these
not
players-
stroking the wood.
Oh, nope.
Nope.
Definitely
We're not doing that.
No.
None of these players, if it was a startup, none of these would go in the first 10 rounds.
Oh, no, definitely not.
No.
But these are guys that are they're so low risk. They offer some upside.
I do.
I just want to be clear about that. I want to be like, oh, these are high upside. Like they love these guys. I'm like, no, I like these guys.
We're saying there's a chance.
Yeah, like I like my guys. You like your guys.
Yeah.
You have some guys.
I got some guys.
Do you like them?
We got a lot of guys around here.
I do like them.
6 guys to be total. Maybe 7. We have time.
Who knows?
It ain't 5 guys.
I do like 5 guys, though.
Oh, it's my favorite burger place.
Is it really?
Oh, hands
Over
down.
Swenson's?
Oh, yeah, easily over Swenson.
Oh, I strongly disagree.
I mean, Swenson's is good, but
Swenson's
no 5 guys.
Great.
Dude, if 5 guys was a woman, I'd marry her.
What if it was 5 girls?
That
Well, then I'd become Mormon.
that sounds like a Mormon
There you go.
relationship. Yep.
You move to Utah.
Yeah, there you go.
Done and done.
Sounds like a nice place to go snowboarding there.
I'm sure it is.
We're big in Utah here. Just now, I heard that.
Just now.
Yeah, from my producer.
People love us
is
in
that
Utah.
right? Oh, wow.
All right, let's move on, guys.
Okay, let's do it. So let's talk
That's
about
our
some guys
producer?
here that offer some potential here. And I'm going to start off with one of my guys here. It's MICAL Perine for the New York Jets. Formerly out of Florida, 5'11", 216 pounds, was a 4th-round pick. Coming off a season last year, played 10 games, 232 yards, good for 3.6 yards per attempt. 11 receptions, 63 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Not a lot of opportunity last year because Adam Gase just fell in love with Frank Gore. I don't know what was going on. I don't know if Gase was like, Gore, stop going in there. And his Herndon wasn't working, but Gore kept going in there, and MICAL Perine was not going in there. He did miss 6 games of injury, and he also tested positive for COVID at the end of the year. So that kind of fell into his little total there as well. But like I mentioned last week with the new addition of Robert Saleh as head coach, that they're going to have this new...
That was our first moment.
That was the first one of the day.
Salah. When you say something and then Garrett and I look at each other because we know you messed it up, but we just kind of let you go.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Do it all
Salah.
the time.
We should
Salah.
we should start to have like a counter on the YouTube show. How many times we do that? Look at each other.
It's nonstop, so it's okay. This is they're bringing in Michael LaFleur's system, right? And this is a system that's going to use a lot of outside zone, and the running back is going to get the outside, and that's where actually like Perine excels. Like if we go back to our rookie breakdown tape of that. Like MICAL Perine has said, it's really weird for a running back of his size. Like he looks really good on the outside. Like he's not an inside runner, and that's where he excels on the outside. He's not a starter, but he's somebody who's very viable in the passing game.
Yep.
He has really good hands. He can play outside. When he was at Florida, they would split him out wide in the receiver position, and that's where he would excel. So I always looked at MICAL Perine as a pass catcher running back. So in the system, to me, it's set for him already. The Jets are a team that are going to have to establish a run. They have Sam Darnold there right now. The offensive line can run outside zone with Becton there as well, and he likes it. And if they're going to run that system, I'm going in this assuming he's going to be somewhat of the Kyle Shanahan system, right, with Michael LaFleur.
Well, Michael LaFleur, I mean, I did some research on him as well because my next player is also from this same team. And he the first job he ever had was with in Cleveland with Kyle Shanahan, and then he followed Kyle Shanahan to Atlanta, and then all the way over there to San Francisco. So it's you got to think that's where the most, I think, of the influence in his offense is going to come from.
He's been there for the past 6 seasons, right. And right now, right under contract for the Jets, they have LaMichael Perine, Ty Johnson, Peter Guerrero, and he's on a future contract, and they're for sure going to bring in a running back. And I'm okay with that because this is a low-risk, upside PPR guy. And last season, the 49ers running back saw 135 targets, saw 92 receptions, 802 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Okay? And they have Ty Johnson there. And Ty Johnson, he was okay last year, 13 games, 54 carries, 254 yards, good for 4.7 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown, 16 receptions, 99 yards, and a touchdown as well. But he did invest in LaMichael Perine. And I think LaMichael Perine's game will fit this outside zone and protect Sam Darnold if Sam Darnold's still the quarterback, even though they trade up for a guy like Justin Fields here. And he could be a viable PPR running back. How just like in San Francisco, the PPR running back is a viable flex option with some upside there. And I think that's what Perine can offer you. I don't love him. He's not elusive. He's not really good in between the tackles, but if you get him in some outside zone, dump him off some passes, utilize his hands here in this same system, assuming it's Kyle Shanahan's system, he can offer high upside running back 3 numbers just on those PPR standalone points too, because that's where we're looking for these PPR running backs. Where can we find them? Like last year we had Naheem Hines, and it was I just lost his name all of a sudden from Washington. Led the league in targets.
J.D. McKissick.
J.D. McKissick. You know, every year we see these guys come in.
Cohen, Duke Johnson.
Yeah. So we're looking for guys that have opportunity to catch footballs from the running back position to get us some points. And like Michael Perine right now, once the Jets do either sign a running back in free agency or draft a guy like Najee Harris, his value is going to even go farther down, which is crazy because I know you can't think it go that much farther down than it is. So he's somebody I'm just saying, pay attention to waiver wires. Even a guy like Ty Johnson. I'm not saying it's exclusively LaMichael Perine here. It's where I bet my chips on right now. But if Ty Johnson's on your waiver wire, I would swoop him up just on the upside right there. LaMichael Perine, if he's on your waiver wire, which is going to be hard because he was only drafted just a year ago, I would pick him up. But if you're working on a trade, if he's a throw-in, one of these guys I could see being a viable option in a PPR passing game. And again, PPR passing running backs equal fantasy football points. And if I can get a guy for absolutely nothing, give me some depth at the position where I need the most depth, and that's the running back position, that could put in on a bye week filler, or maybe the guy they draft or sign goes down week 12, week 13, and this could be the guy that could offer me some starting potential, then those are the kind of guys I like for low risk, high return. That's the high return I'm looking for, you know? Not something to start week in, week out, but LaMichael Perine kind of fits that category to me to a T.
And they're running backs like that, too, are perfect opportunities for some sell high moments. You know, if your team isn't one of those playoff teams and all of a sudden somebody gets hurt, LaMichael Perine has a well-rounded enough game that he can do all of the things you need him to do. It's not going to be sexy. He's not going to put up top 10 weeks and stuff like that. But he could be the starter in a pinch if they needed him to be. Those are great times to flip for a team that's desperate for running back, that they're about to be in the playoffs, and hey, give me your late second because you're going to win the ship. Give me your late second so that way you can have that running back you need, and then all of a sudden, you've made out great.
Those guys out in San Francisco just a couple of years ago is a good example. Jeff Wilson comes in, puts up a big game right around the playoff time. Hey, I'll give you a 3rd-round pick for Jeff Wilson. I just picked him on the waiver wire. Sweet. All right, I'll take it. Now I have 2/3. Now I can use those 2/3, move to the back end in the second. Moves.
Real quick. Pulled up the player shares tool that we have on the Dynasty GM tool. Search for like Michael Perine, and he is owned across all of my Dynasty leagues I'm in.
So he is out there. He's owned in quite a few places, but I would imagine his value isn't that high though, as of right now.
What would
so
you
I think
trade
still get him
trade
cheap.
for him?
I think I'd give a 4th-round pick for him. Yeah. I think that's fair value. I mean, anytime you're in the 4th round, you're looking for a running back. You're looking for any production whatsoever. So I think the fair value for a guy like Michael P right now is I'm going to go out there and offer a 21 4th. And as we get closer to the draft and when you're in the draft, I think it's going to be much easier to pull that move off. And again, a 4th-round pick is one of the most useless picks you'll have in Dynasty fantasy football rookie drafts.
Another quick interesting note, when you're looking at I found this really cool stat on Fantasy Pros, and it's target percentage by position group. So it basically shows like hey, San Francisco throws to their running backs 24% of the time, and you can sort them by whatever you want. So, for instance, San Francisco they throw to their running backs 24% of the time, which is good for 6th in the league. On the opposite end of the spectrum is the New York Jets from last year, who only threw to the running back 16% of the time, and that's like a bottom 7 number in the league. So they're going, from an offense that potentially barely threw to the running backs at all to one of these top 6 program if they do carry over that whole Kyle Shanahan offense. So there should be more targets available this coming season than there were last year to the running backs.
It definitely should be a more fast, innovative offense that is going to utilize the running back a ton. Definitely when you don't have a ton of weapons out there in the pass catching game. Listen, I love Denzel Mims as much as the next guy, and they're going to probably bring in another receiver as well, but even help Sam Darnold, even if it's a rookie quarterback, they're going to utilize the running back, whoever it is. That's why we talked about it when we were doing the coaching talk, is I love whatever running back goes to the Jets. Like, it's going to be a viable fantasy option. Well, whoever's the number 2 there to me is another guy I want to get my hands on, and right now it looks like it's going to stand MICAL Perine. I know Jared said he's owned in every league. Well, of course he is, because he was a rookie last year. Everybody drafted him. He's on their taxi squad. If he's not on their taxi squad, he's still on their roster because you're not going to cut him. Definitely when there's no set starter in New York, as it is as well.
Keep an eye out, though, because usually teams haven't made their cuts yet for the year. They're going to have to do that at some point this season, right around when they have their rookie drafts. He could be somebody that would be on the chopping block to make room for the 4th round pick that they
started already. Kyle Rudolph cut by the Minnesota Vikings. Bye, Felicia.
Oh, not in real life. I mean in your fantasy drafts.
I'm talking real life. Bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia. Yeah. There are a lot of cuts that are going to be happening with the salary cap reduction.
Irv Smith.
If you play on sleeper, Joe Burrow is not even considered an IR eligible player anymore. In order to make any moves, you have to make some adjusting on your roster. There's been a lot of cuts on sleeper leagues that I'm in.
Yep. So definitely just keep an eye out. Maybe a little notification when
a lot of adjusting going on. So you're wearing those tighty whities. We gotta give those up, man. Too much adjusting. So Matt,
yes,
you got a guy?
I do have a guy. So my
low
next
risk?
guy, low risk. He's got
upside,
high reward. So like I said, I did mention that it was from the same team, and the guy that I'm going to go.
Let me guess. Denzel Mims.
No, Chris Mims. From last week.
Chris Mims, come on.
With the jumper.
From last week. No, but it is Chris Herndon. Tight end, 24 years old. Obviously, he came into the league in 2018 and kind of burst onto the scene, had over 500 yards in his rookie season. And then after that, Adam Gase showed up, and we know what happens after Adam Gase shows up. Go ahead and look at him because I said Gase. I messed up a word.
He's a fancy football serial killer.
I'm just wondering if Rich remembers that this is a YouTube show. That's more what I'm wondering.
Oh,
and people might not know what's going on over there right now.
I'm leaving it up to the imagination.
It's a dog on his lap. Because I'm going to take that out of people's imagination.
Take it out,
please.
This show is not rated R.
She was just licking my toes.
Okay. So, if we go back, not only did Adam Gase show up in 2019
with his
googly eyes floating all over the internet, Chris Herndon also had a suspension for 4 games. So he had a terrible start to the follow-up season of his, by all intents and purposes, his really good rookie year. But in the lead up to practice, when he was supposed to be returning, week 5, he also pulled a hamstring. So he was out week 5 to week 10, recovering from that. And then he came in for 16 plays in week 10, and I think it was a rib that he ended up breaking, and he missed the whole rest of the season. So 2019 was a total wash.
As the French would say, fragile.
He was fragile. It was a bad year.
Is that Italian?
I think fragile is just fake.
Yeah.
I think it might be Italian. I don't know. But regardless, last year was a bit of a wash. I think he was in the doghouse for the beginning half of the year, and he just had a very up and down, uneven season. So I kind of dug into it, and like I mentioned before, Fantasy Pros has a percentage breakdown of targets based on your position.
What's the dog's name again?
Don't worry about it.
Ashley's just looking and you're like, what is happening? Her face was amazing.
She wants to get rid of the clear doors. What is she talking about? Show must go on, though.
Show must go on. So Chris Herndon, in his rookie season, without Adam Gase, he saw 20. The New York Jets offense as a whole, they had 20% of the targets going to the tight end, and I think that showed and that was good for 10th in the league. And I think it showed up in his production, the 500 yards, that they were targeting the tight ends pretty heavily. And if you look back at Adam Gase's just track record in general, you go back, I just went back to 2018, and I looked at 2018, 2019, and 2020. 2018 was obviously with Miami in Mike Gesicki's rookie year, which was forgettable as well. But he hasn't gone over 12%, and he's always in the bottom 2 or 3 in the league. It was 12.8% in 2018, 11.3% in 2019, and 12% of the targets going to the tight end in 2020. So it's just not part of his offense that he's going to highlight the tight end. Even though there was a ton of offseason hype going into 2020 that Chris Herndon, they couldn't wait to unleash him. It just never happened, and it's really not part of his scheme. So I think with the bringing into the new system, I kind of wanted to compare with San Francisco what their numbers looked.
They have a pretty good tight end over there, right?
They have a pretty good tight end,
Jordan Reed.
But and they target him 27. The tight end on 27% of the plays. From 2017 or 2018, 2019. It dipped a little bit in 2020, and I think that's reflective of the fact that George Kittle wasn't on the field the entire time. They went down to 24% without George Kittle there on all the plays. So I think what I'm trying to get to is I think you can expect a big uptick in the tight end production in general on this team. And Chris Herndon, I think, is the best tight end on the roster. So that's why I like him as a breakout type of player for next year. I know we kind of went around a roundabout way of saying that Adam Gase just doesn't like the tight ends.
Sure.
But I wanted
fantasy production as a whole. He's a terrible coach.
Right.
He's got googly eyes. He's terrible.
I wanted to dig a little bit deeper because that's the narrative, and that's how we always lay it out. So I wanted to actually have some numbers to back it up. So, I wanted to at least lay out some of those facts.
I'm glad you brought your shovel, big guy. We just dug right in there. And I like that too, because I like kind of goes back to the outside zone run offense they're going to run here is, utilize that outside, get the running back in the outside, utilize them in the passing game, keep everything open up in the middle there. Chris Herndon should be able to feast a little bit in the middle there. You have Denzel Mims on the outside. Take your shots when you can get them. That's the kind of offense I'm looking to see here in New York. Absolutely. So I think Chris Herndon can take that step forward and be utilized and be open in this offense as well. And again, if it's something like the San Francisco offense, they have George Kittle. So obviously you can't, runs through the tight end. Well, you have George Kittle. Yeah. Kansas City has Travis Kelce. Of course it goes through the tight end. So.
But the other thing is it's not like they have a plethora of weapons right now. It's not like, where is he going to find targets with all of their talented pass catchers? Like we like Denzel Mims, and then we don't know what's going to happen.
Jameson Crowder is there now.
Currently.
There is talk that he might be a cap casualty because he's got a pretty hefty, I think it's over $10 or $11 million type of number coming up next year.
Perriman's a free agent.
They have a ton of money, though. That's the thing. Like that's the one thing. Jameson Crowder might be there.
He could.
We'll see.
I think they could upgrade.
But they've already
like Corey Davis go in there.
They've also made a cut today already. The New York Jets, I think it was like a defensive lineman or something like that to clear
Rudolph?
To clear more cap space. No, it wasn't Kyle Rudolph. No.
I mean, dude, if they're looking for an upgrade at tight end, Leonard Fournette's a free agent.
He is.
That's a good point.
And he is, as we've said many times, he's a top 6 tight end in this league.
I mean, we've repeated that over and over.
Super Bowl Lenny. Yeah. Give it to him.
Yeah.
Him and Gronk.
Absolutely.
Uncle Lenny, man.
Whew. Garrett, do you have a player that is low risk, high potential?
I do. And I'm focusing on a specific position group for a team. More so than just
not a player?
More so than just one player.
Kind of like me when I went like Ty Johnson or LaMichael Perine, but
very similar concept here. I'm looking at the Seattle backfield.
Ooh.
We know that at this point, Chris Carson is a free agent. There have been virtually no indicators at all to say that he's going to go back to Seattle. We know that Carlos Hyde is also a free agent. Mm-hmm. There have been almost no indicators that he is going back to Seattle. So that leaves us basically with 2 running backs at this point in Seattle. One is Rashad Penny, and 2,
then
DJ Dallas.
Ooh.
DJ Dallas and Rashad Penny are the 2 guys. Now, Alex Collins is still there as well, so they do actually have 3 guys currently.
I remember that guy.
Yeah. He's always in and out everywhere. But part of it is I still actually like...
He's in and out of everywhere?
In and out of everywhere.
We're just going to leave that one go? All right, go ahead.
I was surprised Rich didn't say anything.
Nothing. I know.
He missed it. It's all right.
He's in his own little
He doesn't
world.
miss so much.
I was thinking of just like what are good indicators, like, oh, it's cold out, your nipples are hard.
Garrett, you're not allowed to talk about DJ Dallas.
It's always time to talk about DJ Dallas. There's never a bad time to talk about it. But more than even DJ, and my love for him has been well documented.
Right.
His jersey is literally on my wall.
I've seen it.
But it's more so than him. It's the position and the opportunity there.
Yeah.
One part of the reason that Schottenheimer left was because there was a lot of disagreement over how much they were throwing the football. I think they want to get back to their roots. What are you laughing about?
I don't know. I lost it. I'm sorry.
I was like, do I have like a booger hanging out or something?
What just happened?
Schottenheimer, he's out the window. Carson and Hyde, they're both gone as well. And the other thing is they're not in a great situation as far as their cap goes. And they're missing both their their first round pick and their third round pick this year. So the likelihood of them taking
Jamal Adams.
Yep, on the Jamal Adams trade. So they only actually have 4 draft picks. They're also missing their 7th round pick, which that's inconsequential for this. But they literally only have 4 draft spots with a defense that was atrocious, an offensive line that could use some help. The likelihood of them taking a running back with a significant pick, which really the only one they have is their 2nd round pick that I would consider significant, seems awfully low. So at this point, I think best case scenario, maybe there's like a middle of the road running back that they would consider signing. But I think more or less it's going to be Rashad Penny and it's going to be DJ Dallas. I think we're going to see Rashad Penny doing a lot of the 1st and 2nd down work. I think DJ Dallas is going to be doing a lot of the 3rd down work. I think both of them can be viable. Neither one are going to be a guy that you want to start as your RB2. But I think both could be viable in flex opportunities, and especially if one or the other gets injured, we'll see an uptick in the other's role. So I think both of those guys are good investments. And like I said, it's not like you're taking this guy with your 7th round pick of your startup. These are guys going 12th, 13th, 14th round of startup drafts, and their upside is just huge simply because it's a Russell Wilson-led offense, and we've seen them have production at the running back position.
Yeah, I like the idea of getting out there and trying to get some Rashad Penny shares for the cost right now being super cheap. I think you're talking about a guy you probably get. I mean, I don't think you get Rashad Penny for a 4th round pick, but you probably get him for a 3rd round pick, which to me, a former 1st round pick in the NFL of Seattle took. They're letting Chris Carson walk, most likely.
Yep.
Right? You never know what's going to happen
but it looks
here.
like that.
Some of these the new TV, ESPN deal is coming out here now too, so this might reflect some of the salary cap. But I think some teams are going to be smart anyways because the salary cap, even if it's a little bit low next year, will explode in 2021. But they already invested a 1st round pick in Rashad Penny. They might as well get some usage out of there. Rashad Penny showed some flashes when he was healthy. His big problem is he's not been able to be healthy. And they can utilize him as that 1st and 2nd down running back, like you said, and then use DJ Dallas in his strong suit in the passing game and get him outside. I think it does offer some really good upside. If you're looking for a really, again, this is all as everything stands right now, right? No free agency, no NFL draft.
Right.
And
we're just projecting.
But sometimes that's a really good window to buy players because once you do have the NFL draft and you do free agency, there's a lot more clarity. And clarity can either raise or lower the price of some players. So right now when you look at a low-risk player, a guy like Rashad Penny, who right now you'd have to guess is the starter over DJ Dallas, because I like DJ Dallas too, but he's not a starter in the NFL in my eyes. He's just
probably not.
He's a role-playing running back, which is just fine in these days.
Absolutely.
In these days.
He's catching passes.
Rashad Penny could be that bell cow running back. And like you mentioned, Brian Schottenheimer left because they want to run the football more. Pete Carroll came out and said, I want to run the football more. Russell Wilson saying, I want to run out of town a little bit more. So we don't know what's going on. The only thing we can say for sure right now, even if Russell Wilson leaves, they're going to run the football.
They're going to run the ball.
No matter what we do, they're going to run the football. And right now, Rashad Penny looks as the major benefactor there. So for me, if you can get any running back that looks like he's going to be a potential starter that's going to get 250 carries potentially for a 3rd round pick, that's great value.
Even a late second, honestly, I would be willing to pay.
I bet you could. He's a player you can like. Hey, I'll give you my late second, and you give me Rashad Penny and next year's 3rd. Or something along those lines. You probably get pretty creative for Rashad Penny because whoever has Rashad Penny has zero confidence. I have Rashad Penny's shares.
Sure.
Sometimes I forget he's even on my roster.
Same. I have
been in the IR slot
I have him in
long.
one league, and literally I don't even. It doesn't even like enter my thought process of him being a running back on my roster.
I'm looking at some trades that have gone through for Rashad Penny, and there's 2021 round 3 draft pick for Rashad Penny for Jalen Reagor, fourths on each side, Rashad Penny and Jonnu Smith for Adam Thielen. What do you guys think about those?
Well, whoever gave up Jalen Reagor for Rashad Penny, bad job out of you.
Yeah, I think that's overpaying.
Yeah, I'm going with the first one you said. I'm right around that 3rd round pick is where I feel comfortable. If I was desperate at running back and I had to give up a late second, I'd want to
211, 212.
I'd want to see who's there at 211, 212 before I just give it up. But I wouldn't hate it.
Chances are you're not, more than likely, most years, especially this year because it's not a deep running back class, you're probably not getting a running back that you have any confidence that could be the starter this season. And
you're paying at 211, 212, which means you're a championship caliber team, which you're making a run for. Either you won the championship or you came in second place. So you have to be aggressive here. We got to remember in Dynasty Fantasy Football, these championship windows, no matter how good your team looks on paper, they're not long-lasting windows. Right. Your team will ever be changing. The top teams, bottom teams, they change year in, year out. You'll have a team that won a championship one year, and then just due to injuries and where the cookies crumbled, they have picked 1-2 the following year. It's the most biggest misstep you can make in Dynasty is sometimes we talk about all the time. What does my team look like on paper? Here's the potential. Here's my long-term outlook for 5 years. None of that is out the window. You don't know. That's why we say if there's a window for a championship, you grab it and you hold on to it as hard as you can, and you do everything to get those titles because nothing is guaranteed. I've been playing Dynasty Fantasy Football for over 17 years, and I've had countless people tell me how good their team looks on paper and how good it's going to be in a year, or how many championships they're going to win in a row, and it never ever pans out.
Tomorrow never comes for them.
So if you have an opportunity for a 3rd round pick or possibly a very late 2nd round pick to get a guy that offers potential, then you got to take it. Yep. And I think of all the players we're talking here, a guy at the running back position offers the most potential. I think Rashad Penny falls right in that line. Now, with that being said, you can't be shocked if in free agency opens up and they re-sign Chris Carson or they sign another running back. It could easily happen.
But those are the risks you have to take at times to get over the hump.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Most of these guys are going to be great for teams that are hitting the upswing, you know what I mean? Or they're trying to stay up on top. These aren't rebuild type of players. I mean, even though they are low risk, high reward, maybe you could flip them. Sure. I feel like it's still a much better buy if you're on your upswing. If you're headed towards a championship in the next year or two, these are the type of players that could potentially take you over the hump and get you that championship.
Because that's the tough part is Rashad Penny's already 25, I believe he is.
Right.
So I mean, it's not like he's this young running back anymore. This is going to be his 4th season at the age of 25.
Well, not to be Frank Gore, son.
You know, you never know. But yeah. Anyway, let's get into our sponsor for this evening, and that's our friends at PREDICTIONSTRIKE.com.
Let's make some money.
Yeah.
We're talking about some of these guys. Would we consider these penny stocks? Rashad Penny stocks?
Dude, I think right now on Prediction Strike, right now, use that promo code Dynasty and take that free $10.
Yep.
Right now, invest it all in Rashad Penny. What do you got to lose? $10.
Who cares? It was free.
Exactly.
What do you got to lose?
You put in $20, you got
$10. You could lose it all.
You could,
but it was free money.
It wasn't yours to begin with. It was given to you.
Yeah, but week 6, Rashad Penny's got 450 yards rushing, 6 touchdowns.
Sell him.
You bought him for a penny. Now it's worth $1.50. You just made 150 times your money.
Rashad Penny, current value $5.39. His graph is going like this, spiking up.
It's starting.
You
better get him now.
Up? So $5.35. So if you $10, you get about a share, almost 2 shares a penny.
There you go. Almost 2 shares of a penny.
But that's what Prediction Strike is. It's literally a platform it's like stocks, right? Like everybody's into crypto right now. Like, ooh, what's up? What's down? Where's Bitcoin? Where's Ethereum? Where is this going? Right now, I don't know.
Do you understand any of that? Do you understand what makes that go up and down?
Hell no, but I know what Dynasty is.
Exactly.
And I'm good at it. You know what I mean? So if you follow Dynasty, if you follow the rookies and you follow the trends and
if you're listening to this show,
you know more than the average Joe. So get on to PredictionStrike.com. Use that promo code Dynasty. Get the free $10. Invest some of your money and invest in some of these guys that, again, we're not buying Justin Jefferson right now. You know what I mean? We're not buying. We're looking for guys. Every single guy we're talking.
Matt might be still.
I'm still on. I'm still buying.
He's just scratched the surface. Then he smells his fingers. Ugh, you nasty. But like every guy we're saying on this show today might be worth a little bit of investment because the sky's the limit. right?
Sure.
Like maybe not the sky, but at least like an umbrella is the limit. You know, you're going above your head.
Maybe like a tall building.
That's
Like a
nice.
tall building's the limit.
10 stories max.
But right now, I mean, I think of all the guys we talked to, I think Rashad Penny is a great investment for like a short-term window. Again, if you want to just flip a stock and make some money, it's not everything's got to be a long-term investment, right? Like, where can I make money? That's what you got to be looking at. How can I make money? Rashad Penny could probably make you money in Prediction Strike. And if you lose, well, you're out $5.36.
And it wasn't even yours to begin with because they gave you $10 free every time you deposit, or the first time you deposit $20 or more with the code Dynasty. That's PredictionStrike.com. And don't forget, they are on the App Store as well.
Download the app. Yep.
I love using the app. So that's promo code Dynasty at PredictionStrike.com.
You guys want another guy you can buy on PredictionStrike.com? Don't know how much it
Yes.
is, but I got a guy. How about Josh Oliver, tight end for the Jacksonville
Oliver Twist.
Jaguars, 6'5", 249 pounds. And you got to remember, this guy ran a 4.63 at his combine, so he had some good speed there. Coming into that coveted third year at the tight end position. That being said, he was a third-round pick. He's only played 4 total games because he's been hurt. And this is a team right now that declined Tyler Eifert's option. They're losing James O'Shaughnessy to the tight end position as well. Now, they may bring a guy in free agency as well. They might trade for Zach Ertz. They might sign somebody. They might sign Hunter Henry.
Could draft somebody.
But this leaves right now Josh Oliver, their former third-round pick, is their best option at the tight end position. And Oliver, I said, for his size, he had really good speed. He was somebody that we thought had really good upside coming out in this draft. And when he was at San Jose State, San Jose was terrible. I think they won 1 game the last game he was there. But he was their number 1 receiving option there. This is a guy who's been plagued with injuries the first couple of years. But now he's going to go into a team that we expect to take a big step forward. They got James Robinson there. They're about to get Trevor Lawrence. And if we're all sitting there talking, everybody's agreeing that Trevor Lawrence is a generational quarterback, a once every 10 years kind of quarterback. Well, those are the kind of quarterbacks that make everybody else around him. So not only am I just trying to get like Trevor Lawrence in Superflex, what are the weapons that are going to be surrounded by Trevor Lawrence? Who are the young guys that they could build around Trevor Lawrence for the next 4 to 5 years? They have that really good fantasy football window. We all like DJ Shark and his upside. But what about Josh Oliver, another guy in here that again, all new staff, all new personnel, but he's going to have an opportunity to come in here with a guy like Trevor Lawrence and show what he can do. What can he do? We don't know because he's only played 4 total games and he doesn't have much action here. But he's going to have opportunity around Trevor Lawrence. And as it stands today, there's not a lot of opportunity around him right now. Keelan Cole's a free agent. Like we said, we have DJ Shark. We got James Robinson. And then Josh Oliver is the number 1 tight end. And we know that Urban Meyer is going to utilize some talent that he has on the field. So if Josh Oliver can show they could do something here with Trevor Lawrence, then we can look for a tight end that can give you those mid-range to low-end tight end 1 numbers. And right now, Josh Oliver is free.
He's free. I don't know if he's available in a bunch of leagues, but if you have to pay anything for him right now, it's in like the 5th, 6th round range. You know what I mean? It's very dirt cheap at this point. He's a very prediction strike friendly investment, I think, at this point. And I think you nailed it, man. The Urban Meyer offense, I think he uses whoever is good. And we pointed that out, I think, last week. And the tight ends, he's had them involved in the past, the Aaron Hernandez type of guys. And I can't remember the other one. Was it Jordan Reed? Was Jordan Reed there at the same time as him? Or
Florida?
No? At Florida?
Probably.
I can't remember. But he will use the tight end if it's available. He didn't do it much at Ohio State, but I think back in his days at Florida, he did. So Josh Oliver, was he also?
It was oh my God. No, I can't remember. For the Colts.
Trey Burton?
Trey Burton.
Gotcha.
Was his other tight end.
So I mean, we'll see. He was the one that was a linebacker, correct? Before he transitioned to tight end. So he's still relatively new.
Forced him over to the tight end position, and his speed, his size was fantastic.
And was it him or was it who was the one that was also playing like water polo and like all of those different sports? Was that Josh Oliver? It was one of those tight ends in that
Kyle Waring or whatever.
Holly Warren. Okay, I knew it was somebody.
Texans. Another third-year tight end to for some potential upside here too.
For sure.
Yep. So I like Josh Oliver going forward. Definitely.
Okay, Matt, you got a guy?
I do. Another tight end. We're just going to keep dipping into this one. It seems
it's
like
all running backs and tight ends. That's all we got.
I mean, it does seem like these are the guys that kind of pop up out of nowhere, right?
Sure.
So
Robert Tonyan, Darren Waller. We've seen that a lot over the past few years.
We definitely have. So my guy is Anthony Firkser.
Love this pick. I almost had him. I had him on my potential list as well.
Tight end of the Titans. He's 26 years old. This is going to be his 4th year in the league. He's currently a restricted free agent for the Tennessee Titans, and obviously, Jonnu Smith is a free agent. And you know, with their current cap situation, they're at around $5 million, and they also have Corey Davis, who's going to be gone. So I think personally, if I'm looking at those two positions and I know that I can kind of only fill one, I would like to go out and get a wide receiver and keep a guy like Anthony Firkser. I'm having a hard time with that. Firksers, who played a pretty large role and kind of under the radar role last year, along with Jonnu Smith. So if you look at just at last year's comparison between the two, Jonnu Smith and Anthony Firkser, Anthony Firkser had 53 targets, 39 receptions, 389 yards, and a touchdown. And Jonnu Smith, who is this ballyhooed, big-time free agent that everyone's kind of fawning over and expecting big things out of, he only had 65 targets, 41 receptions, 448 yards. I mean, he did have a big uptick in touchdowns. He had 8 touchdowns. So that's kind of what differentiated the two of these players. But really, you're going to get a much of the same out of a guy like Anthony Firkser that you're going to get out of Jonnu Smith. It's just going to be at a much reduced price. And I think with the fact that they're so strapped against the top of the cap there, I don't think they're going to have much of a choice. I think it's going to be Firkser, and they're going to have another guy that they're kind of running with as a second guy. But Firkser, I kind of looked at his numbers and extrapolated them, because Tennessee Titans is another one of these teams that has a high percentage of
throw a ton there, yeah,
of passes to the tight end.
25%. It was like 24.9% went to their tight ends last year.
It was actually 30.5 according to Fantasy Pros of the pass plays went to the tight end position, which was fifth or third. I'm sorry, third overall. So
numbers.
And 88% of them went to the top two guys. Sure. And that's Anthony Firkser and Jonnu Smith. So if you give Firkser even just like a bump of 20 targets, he gets up into this conversation pretty quickly into the tight end one conversation. And if you boost, like last year, he had a kind of a down year by his standards by yards per completion. It was down at 9.9. But if you go by his career average of 11, you get up into some top 7 numbers. So he has a ton of potential, and I feel like just because their finances are the way that they are, they're going to let Jonnu Smith go, and he's going to be the tight end one there. And I think it's a very sneaky play because no one's talking about him.
Yeah, his name came up just a little bit in the 2020 season here, Anthony Firkser, and then obviously you got eclipsed by Jonnu Smith. And when I saw you put out there, you put in Firkser, I had him. I was like, okay, him, Donald Parham for the LA Chargers is another great guy that could be on this list that we talk about here in depth as well. But you mentioned this is an offense that's losing Corey Davis, that's losing Jonnu Smith, that targets. I thought it was 25% they targeted the tight end, which is a good number, but 30%. So a third of the plays go in there, and then you move all those Jonnu targets over to a guy like Firkser. They're going to run the football. This is an offense that wants to utilize Ryan Tannehill at his strengths, right? That keeps him as a top 8, top 7 fantasy football quarterback, and that's the way they do that is they run the ball strong and they keep everything short and sweet and simple, and that's where the tight end comes into effect. And right now, when we were talking about the tight end position before, I think what's weird about Tennessee is a lot of people don't notice that they throw so much to tight end because they utilize so many different tight ends. Sure. And like you said, with like Jonnu leaving, Firkser's now the most talented. You funnel a little bit more that way, and you're looking at a guy that could be tight end number 8, tight end number 9, which is a very good option to have when there's nothing, for no price tag here. And is there a potential they could be, like you mentioned, a guy like Robert Tonyan, right? Everybody thought it was going to be J.C. Sternberger coming to be the number 2. And it turns out it's Robert Tonyan. And not only is it Robert Tonyan, but he's a top 6 tight end for the 2020 season. So right now, if you get a guy like Anthony Firkser for a 3rd round pick, I think that would fall right in that category of a 3rd round pick. That's free money that you're playing with for fantasy points.
I see a few trades of 4th round picks getting Firkser, just a 4th.
Yeah.
And that's in February. So.
That's a good starting point.
Absolutely. Well, and the reason of all the tight ends we talked about, I like this one the best. And the reason is This is not a team in transition. All the other ones we're talking about new coaches and hoping they like them. We're talking about new systems and hoping they fit. This one, none of the pieces are changing. The quarterback is the same. The head coach is the same. Obviously, offensive coordinator, there's a little bit of movement there.
They hired from within, though.
But they hired from within.
Yep.
And basically, it's stable. So it would lend itself to a next man up opportunity much more than some of these other situations where it's like we're projecting that it'll fit. Sure. We already know that this fits.
Yes, absolutely. And on top of that, the cap, that's the biggest thing. You know what I mean? They don't
have the money to do
They don't have the money to go out and get a guy and pay a guy. I would love a Hunter Henry here. You know what I mean? I think that would be amazing. But they just don't have the money for it. So they're going to let Jonnu Smith walk because they don't have the money for it.
I could see him drafting a third-round guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Letting him develop and then saying, like, okay, Firkser, it's your job until this guy beats you out.
In 3 years.
Shows you earn it.
Yep.
And they are going to spend money on offense, like you mentioned. It's going to be a receiver position. It'd be them trying to figure out how to bring back a guy like Corey Davis who already fits into their system. So I'm with Garrett. I absolutely love this pick at tight end. It goes right into that Rashad Penny pick. Like, I like both your guys' picks over my pick. Like, I like MICAL Perine as a PPR running back, but nothing that I'm ever getting in my lineup. Like, Rashad Penny is a potential starter in here. A guy like Anthony Firkser, somebody you can get into your lineup and start. Again, when Robert Tonyan became the starter, we mentioned there, hey, go pick up Robert Tonyan off the waiver wire. Right. And I got him in a lot of leagues off the waiver wire. This is the same kind of situation. Like, get him in there. You have nothing to lose. These are all nothing to lose guys that offer that high reward. Anthony Firkser, another great, fantastic selection here to get into your lineup or onto your dynasty roster today for a very low price. Jared say so I'm going for a fourth. I personally would have no problem paying a third for him. And I think in a tight end premium league, I think even if you have a mid-range third to high third, even in this deep draft class, I think that's a really good opportunity to go in there
still
and
reasonable.
Get some good production out there for the tight end premium league.
Yeah, it does drop.
It's a great ad.
It does drop off after the first three. You could maybe say 4 tight ends in this class, but after that, it really drops off.
And you're getting immediate production. So anytime you start talking late round picks, we're not looking for no rookie tight ends coming in and help you right away. So if you're thin in the tight end position, Kyle Pitts. I mean, the guy's a giant receiver. I'm saying already, he's the best tight end I've ever watched on tape.
He's fantastic.
The best tight end I've ever watched. But if you're on a team, you're a contender, and you could use a little help at tight end, even if it's your tight end 2 or you're in tight end premium league, I would strongly recommend going out there and get it like Anthony Firkser, because anybody else that's probably going to offer similar potential on the upside is going to cost you 3 times as much.
Yeah, a second round draft pick or something like that.
Easily.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, even if you want to go get his counterpart, like a Jonnu Smith, he's costing you a mid-range second in a tight end premium league, if not a high second, just on the upside because of his athleticism. And he's going to sign somewhere in free agency, and that's going to give him a boost even more so. Why Firkser is going to stay slow and steady.
He's just going to be under the radar, I think, for most of this offseason.
It's a great ad. Garrett?
All right, last but not least, I am going back to the running back position. And I'm going with a guy that when I first saw him, I wasn't sure. He was a little undersized. I was like, he's really going to have to fit a role. And then the team that is the stereotype for that role drafts him, and that's J.J. Taylor, who got drafted. Actually, he was an undrafted free agent that went to the New England Patriots. And as soon as that happened, he instantly went on my radar. One, because I loved his PPR prowess. I thought he looked really good in that. Quick, twitchy, but James White is a free agent. Mm-hmm. Chances are this is a team that is in total disarray. They're probably not going to be bringing James White back, more than likely. And at this point, we don't necessarily know who the quarterback is, which if it's not Cam Newton, that would actually be a little bit helpful because oftentimes running quarterbacks aren't dumping the ball off to the running backs, or the running quarterbacks aren't dumping the ball off to running backs as often. But Bill Belichick is still there. McDaniels is still there. This is another situation where the coaching staff is still in place, and they love utilizing those pass-catching running backs. They've done it for years. Now, part of that was Tom Brady. Tom Brady really loved doing that. So we don't know necessarily who their quarterback is going to be this year. But if you wanted to give me somebody that could end up being James White, that could end up being a Tariq Cohen, that could end up being, one of those PPR monsters. Just they only get 300 rushing yards on the season, but they had 750 receiving yards and ended up being a great dart throw running back for you. I think J.J. Taylor is the type of player that could be that guy.
The Deion Lewis, they just churn him out like every few years. I feel like
Deion was a great one.
They're producing a new PPR type of running back. And they're in the rumors to be after Bill Belichick loves Cam Newton's, whatever. Bill Belichick, they're scouring everywhere. So they are totally in transition. We have no idea kind of what the offense is going to look like. Is Cam going to be back? They're most likely going to draft a young quarterback if they get the opportunity.
I hear them and Mac Jones a lot.
I was going to say, I hear a lot of Mac Jones rumors.
Which would be great for J.J. Taylor because Mac Jones is not a great athlete.
No, he is not. So I would imagine either way there's going to be some sort of role. At least they're going to see if he fits a role next year while they're kind of figuring out the rest of their offense and where their future is. And J.J. Taylor, I think, is a prime candidate.
I was honestly surprised that he got playing time this year.
Yeah.
It wasn't a ton, but he did get 23 rush attempts, and then they threw the ball to him a little bit here and there. But I was surprised that he actually was on the field for them this year. I thought he was going to be a practice squad guy the entire year. So the fact that he even dressed was encouraging.
And it was towards the end of the season too, is when he got his biggest opportunity, six rushes for 38 yards in week 16. So it was, I think they were kind of trying to see what they had in him. That's why they kind of played him towards the end of last season. And we'll see what next season brings. But I think, like I said, it's a transition year for them. I would be shocked if they didn't at least try him out in the offense.
Another team that has salary cap, problems. So
no, I think they're okay actually.
Are they okay now?
Yeah, New England is way under the cap.
So it was last year that.
Yep.
Okay, it was last year that it was problems.
Yeah, they actually have the third most salary cap space.
But
so I could see them buying a wide receiver, perhaps even a tight end, kind of solidify some things. But they're not going to overspend at the running back position.
They are missing their third round pick as well
because they have Sony there, who's under contract still, and they obviously have Damon Harris as well. So. I think J.J. Taylor would slide in right behind both those guys. That'd be a really nice.
Let them be the
catcher.
grinders, and he comes in on third down.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so to recap here, we got guys that we think are very low-risk players that offer some upside. LaMichael Perine, running back for the New York Jets. Anthony Firkser, tight end for the Tennessee Titans. DJ Dallas, Rashad Penny for the Seattle Seahawks. Josh Oliver, tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Chris Herndon, tight end for the New York Jets. And J.J. Taylor, running back for the New England Patriots. All upside guys here. I would invest in every single one of these guys to see if I can get them on my dynasty squad.
Just go out there and see if some of them might just be available. Go see if they're available. It depends on how shallow your league is. If you don't have
we do have people
rosters,
that play in we only roster 20 players.
20 roster play dynasty leagues.
I definitely there's definitely a possibility. These are also perfect. We didn't mention it and we probably should have. These are perfect throw-in guys. Like to even out a deal like, it's close. You know what? Toss in, name one of these guys.
Sure.
They're the perfect type of players for that.
When people are trying to move up and down the draft, sometimes if people want to just move up a couple picks, you go, hey, and these are strategies for your draft that you target ahead of time. Like, okay, I know Matt has Anthony Firkser, and I know he's okay at tight end. So what do? Let me go ahead and just go plan ahead, and I'm okay with moving back from 3.6 to 3.11. Hey, Matt, 3.6 on the clock. You got somebody you love here? Hell yeah, I got somebody I love here. All right, give me Firkser and 3.11. I'll give you 3.6. Draft day, they're going to be like, yeah, let's do it.
Boom.
So when you go in your draft, if you have plans like that for your dynasty rookie draft, those are good strategies to have way ahead of time. Low-end players that you want to target as throw-ins and start to manipulate the draft that way and move back because you're actually getting a player that you want with your pick plus some. Because what in reality, like Garrett said, is you're not even giving up anything in situations like that. You're giving up the player that you could have drafted there. But once you start talking third round, you're usually not missing anything. So, and if you want to see where these players are and you want to stream like this is a perfect another example for the Dynasty GM. Yep. It's a tool. We have the rookie pick board going up there very soon. I saw it last night. Looked very sexy. Very sexy.
Sweet.
Look at all your draft boards. And if you want to see who's where, what's what, okay, who has Firkser? This is a team has Firkser. How strong are they at tight end? Oh, they're this strong at tight end. How many draft picks do they have? This is the draft board. It all ties in with the Dynasty GM. Remember, that's absolutely free to try right now. It's the greatest in-season and, just as importantly, greatest off-season tool you could have in Dynasty Fantasy Football. It's absolutely free to try. Get to dynastynerds.com. Get in there. No credit card information, no nothing. You actually get to try it literally for free. You'll see it's the best tool in Dynasty today. Get out there, try that out. And, of course, if you're a Nerd Herd member, if you like that, you join the Nerd Herd. Right now is the most important time to be watching this rookie film. Next week, we start our rookie breakdowns. We're going to start the 2021 NFL quarterbacks. What do we use to watch our tape? A lot of people ask. That's the Dynasty Nerds film room. And if you're looking for the best tape, best film room out there today to watch these rookies, it's the Dynasty Nerds film room. We have all 22 film in the film room. So if you're looking to watch these rookies, how the pros watch the rookies, get the Dynasty Nerds film room. We have every player that's eligible to be drafted in that film room right now. Get your eyes on it. Dominate your rookie draft today with this film room. It's all for the price of a cup of coffee. You get the rankings, you get the GM tool, you get the film room, you get the nerd score.
Extra pod.
You get the bonus pod. Remember, when we break down our rookies, we do them in 2 different pods. And one of them, unfortunately, people are like, oh, you put some of that behind a paywall. Well, somebody's got to pay for this film room. Somebody's got to pay for all these developers to build these awesome tools for you guys. That's what it does. This money does not come to us. It goes right back into the Dynasty community to help you guys be better Dynasty players. Invest in yourself. Invest in your Dynasty team. And you're going to pay dividends not only this year, but for years to come for your Dynasty team as you win not 1, but 2, the 3 multiple championships, becoming a true
LeBron. Keep going.
Dynasty fantasy football team. So get there. Make sure you check out the YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, hit that notifications channel button because we have so much unique content going on there as well. I just talked about TJ Hawkinson on my YouTube channel. We have a lot of individual stuff coming on there.
YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's my YouTube channel now, son.
We're a team.
I'm the captain now. So get on there, dynastynerds.com. I can't promote enough. You're listening to the podcast, but the site has so much to offer as well. And like we mentioned, the thing that we do best is break down these rookies, and it all starts next week with the 2021 rookie quarterback class.
Can't wait.
We're talking about some Trevor Lawrence. We're going to talk about some Justin Fields, breaking down the film. I can't wait to get to it. It's going to be, and then once it's all over, I'll can't wait for it to be over.
Yep.
Because it's so much film.
Yep. We'll get so burnt out in the next 2 months. It'll be great.
If you ask me, hey, Rich, what are you doing for the next 2 months of your entire life? Every free minute. I'm watching film.
Just watching film.
All the way up to the last minute. So get out there. Make sure you're joining the herd so you can hear all our rookie breakdowns. Remember, we're going to get half and half. So that's what we'll be.
Yep.
Check it out.
Check it out, guys. Adios.